I've never had a game where I've gotten the platinum and was almost thankful that I could finally delete the game. But Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League has got to be, in my opinion, one of the worst games we've gotten in over a decade, in my opinion. It's honestly crazy. And when I first started playing the game, me and my friend Futures DXD, you've probably seen him on Apex videos, but we played this game co-op the entire way through, and then I would say first quarter, we probably were like, okay, this game is a little bit better than Marvel Avengers. And we meant that. We actually did. The graphics, I will say, if there's one thing to say that this game does well, it's the way it looks. It actually looks really, really good. Aesthetically pleasing. Just the world itself looks pretty nice. The cutscenes look amazing. But that's where the good things end. Because when you first start playing the game, you get introduced to the tutorial, you learn how to play, you do some missions, and then you face Flash. And yes, there's going to be spoilers in this. I probably should have said that, but spoilers ahead if you actually care to even play this game or not. But you get to Flash, and that's where the game, you start realizing, oh, okay, so we have essentially played what the game has to offer right then and there. And this is going to be like a rant, almost a rant video, just because of the game itself. I made a mistake of even going for this platinum, but let's just talk about the fact that this game, quite literally, like I said, after you beat the Flash, you've already done missions of the escorting or, protecting. There's different iterations of the same mission, essentially. Poison Ivy, Hack, and even there's just all different kinds of missions, but they pertain to the same thing. Even Rick Flag and Toyman's missions, they're essentially just different iterations with the same thing. It's like a new Call of Duty. It's the same thing, but with just a different skin on it. And that's what these missions are. And it's annoying because you'll do Hack's mission. You gotta go fight the enemies off of one point, so that way Hack can actually finish hacking the tower. And then you rinse and repeat, do that with the next point. And Poison Ivy stuff, you stop them from corrupting her plants. All right, now go to the other plant, which is just a different point. All right, now go to the other plant, and then you just rinse and repeat. There's escorting missions that are story related missions that you quite literally just walk for, I want to say, 30 seconds to almost 45 seconds of just walking behind a slow vehicle, which we've had an ice cream truck, a van, there's been different vehicles, and it's all the same thing. You just walk behind them, and then you finally get some enemies to fight. You beat them, here comes another 30 to 45 seconds. You get more enemies to fight, you beat them, and then you arm the bomb, and then, or whatever it may be, it's kind of different, but still about the same thing. You pretty much get to the end. Now it's a defend it until it's ready to go off. So you have about a 1.5 minute timer, and then it goes off, mission completed. And that is essentially the missions that you have to do. And think about this game, to get the platinum, you have to do these missions over and over and over. And here's the thing, when the game first came out, there was exploits that you could do to get to the levels that you need to. I was waiting to play with my friend so we could actually, play the game together and experience it and, hopefully have fun. Because at the time, we thought at least there was a potential. I missed out on every single goddamn exploit that they had to offer. So I had to actually sit there and do the exact same missions over and over and over again. And when I tell you the amount of time it took, there's no gameplay that's really recorded for this game that I saved, because it would have quite literally been, what you're seeing is just the trailer for the game. And I feel like it's giving the same benefit of that than me giving you guys gameplay of me just doing the exact same mission over and over. Because once you get to the end game, when they have you want to get to this mastery level 50 or whatever it is, or not even mastery level 50, it's the squad level 50, which is just annoying. But the only way to level up properly and fast is to do the masteries and go through them as much as possible. I think I managed to get to mastery level 40, and I finally was getting enough XP to where it was slowly starting to I would level up maybe once every 3 missions. And that was getting very annoying to do the same one. Here's the 3 incursion missions that you have to do. 1 is protect Ivy's plants. 2, take out these inhibitors, which first you have to take out the crystals that are, you know, corresponding with each one, which is already annoying. And then last but not least, essentially it's like a toy man where you have to get these data shards to then put into this tower and then it explodes. But it's just a different iteration of that. You just get these data shards and you put them into the tower, get to the safe zone. Now you have to do 2 more rounds of that. Now these missions take approximately, I'd say the inhibitor ones take maybe 5 minutes max. Poison Ivy's, I feel like it's set to about 7 to 10 minutes probably around there. And then the actual like data shard one, I'd say that one probably takes the longest because round 3 is always where the big brutes come in, and then you kind of got to deal with fighting those, which is kind of annoying because once you get to the really hard masteries, like every enemy you kill explodes and that hurts you, but they also one-shot you, and it just became a thing. But like the difficulty is artificial difficulty. Once you do like mastery level probably 5, everything past that is about nearly the same, where you can kill everything. The brutes are going to be tough, but you'll get through it. The only like disadvantage of dying is you just lose seconds, but they give you so much time anyways that there's no way you can truly lose these missions. I mean, you can if like you let Poison Ivy's plant get corrupted, but all in all, like I think I only lost like maybe once, and that's because I couldn't find an enemy in one of those Poison Ivy missions. But they're pretty simple, and you just rinse and repeat that until you get all the squad points up to level 50, which is already annoying because you have to level up every single character to level 30. Now, like I said, didn't have any exploits, so I had to actually just do missions over and over and over with each character until I leveled them up, which is fine. Now when it comes to like the story and everything, story related, fighting the Justice League is cool and all, but they could have made such a better game if they would have just had us fight the Suicide Squad, I would say, as the Justice League, because I would have much rather play as the Justice League than the Suicide Squad. And the only reason why I say that is because that was probably what people actually would have wanted. Rather, well, they probably just wanted a Batman game to end the, end the series off on a good note, which I won't even get into that. If you have your opinions on the whole Batman and how Batman's treated in this game as a Kevin Conroy, like, send off, you guys will have your opinions on that. I'll keep mine to myself regarding that, because I just think the story was lackluster in terms of just if Superman truly, like, I know Brainiac is controlling all of them, but when you see Flash kill Lex Luthor in like the blink of an eye, he literally could have did that with every single person right off the bat. Let's just get into the boss fights rather than the story. The boss fights, very lackluster. The Flash was probably the coolest one, but then after that you get very different iterations of the same thing. Green Lantern flies around, you have to take out his constructs and then shoot him. Rinse and repeat for about 15 minutes, he's done. Superman, Batman, probably one of the more unique ones, except it's the most low ram boss fight I have ever seen in my life. And the reason why I'm calling this just a low ram is because it's essentially like even in other games where it's just a big brute boss fight, slow attacks, easy to dodge, easy to see coming. You shoot him, rinse and repeat, that's it, Batman's gone. Well, he's not really gone, it takes a little bit longer, but then you know how that ends. Then Superman could end you just right then and there, but instead he gets a little cocky. You got all this golden kryptonite on you, blah blah blah. Even though Boomerang literally threw his boomerang that was, a golden kryptonite pretty much boomerang, and he grabbed it and literally just destroyed it in his hand, and he was taking the damage from that and did that, and Boomerang looked like he was fearing for his life, as you should, because Superman would just kill you right then and there. However, you don't. Essentially now you wait for the opening just like Flash, you counter shot, shoot him, rinse and repeat until he's dead. That's how that goes. Then Brainiac. You would think Brainiac being the last boss would have an interesting boss fight, would have a different boss fight at the end just to reward you for playing the entire game. It has like 3 cardinal sins in this, but what it decides to do is, 1, not give a unique boss fight at the end. Instead of us fighting Brainiac and just having some cool, something just unique to do, we are essentially facing the Flash again. It's a pretty much rehash of the very first boss fight we had, except in a different setting and a color palette swapped version of Flash. The only thing that's different is they have little mobs coming at you, and you have to kill them, and that's kind of what goes in between phases. But other than that, that's it. That is the entire story. But here's the other cardinal sin. This game does not have an ending. Yes, you can view the ending as you killed one Brainiac. Amanda Waller is now ordering you to kill the other 12, and you could just use your imagination saying, hey, that's what they're doing, the end. However, they're giving the other 12 Brainiacs that you have to go through all the other worlds in DLC and season passes. You don't know. We're not going to get the true ending for what I want to say is probably going to be maybe the next 6 months. But if I'm being totally honest, I doubt we even get a true ending, because I can already tell you, come back to this video when you figure it out. But just let me know ahead of time when you are playing, if you're still playing this game and you're facing a different Brainiac. Let me guess what the boss fight's going to be. Oh, since we started off with the Flash, since that was the first boss fight, next one's going to be Green Lantern. It's going to be Brainiac turning into Green Lantern. We got to face that with boss fight. And then what's next? Batman. And then Superman. And then what? Are we rinsing and repeating? Where now it's going to be the Flash again for number 5, 6, and then like we're just going to go on and rinse and repeating again? If someone told me to describe this game in 3 words, the 3 words would be rinse and repeat. And that applies to quite literally everything. The missions, the boss fights, the enemies you face. There's only 5 different kinds of enemies. Yes, there's infused versions of them. You got Batman infused, Green Lantern infused, helicopters, Superman, which you don't really, it's not even really Superman infused. It's just, it's not really that, but Flash, but like, that's it. It's still the 5 same enemies. You got bombers. I don't actually know what they're called, but you got bombers, tanks, helicopters. I'm not really counting Green Lantern helicopters as a whole different enemy. It's just a helicopter. Then you got the grunts and the snipers. There's probably other ones there, but I mean, I guess they count the cargo drones that you shoot as enemies because of doing the quest, which the support contracts. When you do the contracts for 2 trophies, you have to do 50 and then 100. Doing 100 of them damn contracts is actually abysmal. That entire game is abysmal. It was too much of a grind for a not fun game. And I know it sounds like I'm just complaining the entire time, but when you get a game like this, at least Marvel Avengers, while it was the exact same missions as well, it was still different missions kind of. For some reason, when I was playing through Marvel Avengers and had to do the 50 hives, I didn't want to, you know, do a Harley Quinn to Batman to myself while playing that. But when playing this game, I quite literally put podcasts on or listen to music and just zoned out for a good hour and a half, you know, maybe 2 hours daily, just trying to get these stuff done. Because I will say, when you get through all the grindy stuff and you actually go to, you know, doing the cool stuff like, you know, history repeats itself when you go and through the whole Batman retelling of the whole Batman series pretty much in this kind of presentation, which was cool. When you do all the Riddler stuff, while the Riddler stuff was just kind of tedious and just finding all the trophies and all that, that's fine. I don't mind searching. It's cool. Or even the AR missions. I just use Harley Quinn for quite literally every single one because they recommend, they're pretty much to help you learn the character and how to traverse and have good movement with every single character. But I just decided to use Harley Quinn for I think everyone but one. There was one that I had to use Deadshot because I couldn't quite get the speed right and get high enough to get through a certain point. But other than that, yeah, I used Harley Quinn for the entirety of it. And then there was the actual riddles, which were kind of cool, I guess. But if I had to give this game a score, we got to give a point for cutscenes. I would give 2 points for cutscenes and the way the game looks. Combat, I can give half a point because sometimes it did feel cool to swing around as Harley Quinn. Sometimes I didn't like how I was, you know, negated after a while of I can only swing twice, and between each swing I had to wait pretty much like a 3-second cooldown. And then the second swing, I literally just had to either cancel it by a wall climb or use the L1 of actual grapple. And if I didn't do that, then I had to literally touch the ground, which was stupid. I gave it like half a point. So we're at 2.5. In terms of maybe the Riddler stuff, sure, let's give it another half a point. We're at 3. And I'm only giving another point because of Kevin Conroy's last game. They did a little touching moment at the end for the send-off. And while they did treat his character, and I honestly want to say they really just made a mistake of how they made that character go out. I'm still gonna give respect where it's due and maybe give it a 4. I don't think it deserves a 4, but a 4 is still not a good score, and I just want to at least pay my homage in a way to Batman and Kevin Conroy for doing that. But I do give this game a 4 out of 10. If they didn't do a send-off for Batman, it quite literally probably would have been a 2.5 to 3 out of 10, just because there's not a lot going for this game. It's just essentially you don't get an ending to the game. You do the exact same missions, fight the exact same enemies the entire time, and it's just not fun. It's just not fun to grind at all, which is disappointing, but I can't say I'm surprised. This game tries to keep you occupied, but you're not enjoying yourself for those 30 hours that you play this game to try to get the platinum if you decide to. Do I recommend it? No, not at all. It's a sad end to the Arkham series, but it's also a sad end to what I want to say Rocksteady. I don't think this is a good game that you were developing for quite a while and then delayed twice and then come out with. At least Cyberpunk, while it came out bad for some people, I should say, let me clarify that, they ended up fixing it later, which, yes, we're in a day and age where we should be getting games that aren't busted from when they release, but some games learn from their mistakes and fix them. This game is unfixable because even if you add different enemies, the combat's still going to be the same. The gun pool, honestly, you need to add something else, because the guns, there's literally only 2 guns I used the entire game because everything else was worse. I hope they give you the ending that you deserve when you finally beat all 12 Brainiacs, or I should say 13. But when you finally get to that point, I hope the ending is, you know, good, because I know I'm not going to be there. Well, if you guys did enjoy this video, if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and you guys know the drill. I will see you guys later.